The 19th century Great Reset was not a singular event, but a decades-long atmospheric shift in how humanity was permitted to perceive the Earth. To some, this was the era when truth through personal observation was replaced by theoretical science through institutional decree. This transition was fueled by a specific group of American and European industrialists who realized that a population grounded in their own senses was difficult to manage, while a population dependent on experts for the shape of their world was infinitely malleable. In the late 1800s, the local schoolhouse was seen as an obstacle to the New World Order. Education was too varied. Some taught from the Bible, others from local navigation. The solution was standardization, funded by the most powerful men on Earth. The Rockefeller General Education Board, founded 1902, John D. Rockefeller, through his General Education Board, GEB, funneled over $180 million into the American school system. His advisor, Frederick T. Gates, was blunt about the goal of this philanthropy. Gates, quote, "In our dream, we have limitless resources, and the people yield themselves with perfect docility to our moulding hand. The present education conventions fade from our minds, and unhampered by tradition, we work our own goodwill upon a grateful and responsive rural folk." Frederick T. Gates, The Country School of Tomorrow, 1913. Docility required removing the students' confidence in their own eyes. By replacing the flat, stationary earth of the senses with the spinning globe of the textbook, the GEB broke the student's primary connection to reality. If you can be convinced the earth is spinning at 1,000 miles per hour when you feel it is still, you can be convinced of anything. The Carnegie Foundation for the Advancement of Teaching, founded 1905. Andrew Carnegie worked in tandem with Rockefeller to professionalize and centralize teacher training. Carnegie's foundation pushed for the Carnegie Unit, a way of measuring educational credits. This allowed for a national curriculum where only sun-centered science was accredited. Teachers who dared to teach anything contrary to heliocentric ideas were labeled unfit and stripped of their credentials. The systematic replacement of maps. Before the mid-19th century, the polar azimuthal map, the level plane map, was common. To move the public to a globe, the elite had to make the flat map seem primitive. The 1892 Gleason Standard Map. Alexander Gleason's map was the last major stand for the level plane in the academic world. It was scientifically and practically correct, as it is. Between 1890 and 1920, maps like Gleason's and the 1587 Urbano Monte map, a 10-foot wide masterpiece of the flat plane, were removed from public schools and placed into institutions like the Library of Congress and the British Museum. The Mercator projection was promoted because it distorted the outer rim, Antarctica, so severely that it made the land beyond the ice look like a small island at the bottom of a ball, rather than the massive container of our world. To ensure no one would ever look back, the Great Reset had to rewrite history itself. Washington Irving, in his History of the Life and Voyages of Christopher Columbus, invented the story that Columbus's detractors were ignorant people who feared falling off the edge. The debate in the 1490s was about the size of the Earth, not its shape. Everyone in the mainstream already knew about the Greek sphere theory. By teaching every child that their ancestors were ignorant for believing in a flat and stationary Earth, the industrialists created a social stigma. Beyond the industrialists, specific gatekeepers helped solidify the abstract model during this era. Sir George Airy, the royal astronomer who conducted Airy's failure, in 1871. He tried to measure the Earth's speed using a water-filled telescope. When he found zero motion, the establishment buried the result and moved into the abstract physics of the 20th century to explain it away. Alfred Russel Wallace, the man who controversially won the Bedford Level wager in 1870. People argue Wallace used atmospheric refraction to fake a curve in the water, providing the legal proof the industrialists needed to declare the globe as settled law. Often called the father of modern education, John Dewey was heavily funded by Rockefeller. He moved education away from absolute truth and toward social efficiency. Truth was no longer what you saw, a flat horizon. Truth was whatever was socially useful for the industrial state, the globe. The 19th century Great Reset was the final software update for the human mind. By the time the first space images appeared in the 20th century, the public had already been trained for 4 generations to ignore the evidence of their own eyes and trust the standardized theories of the Rockefeller-funded world. If the classrooms of the 19th century planted the seed of the ball, Hollywood and the modern media provide the harvest, a constant stream of visual confirmation that makes the theoretical model feel like an experienced reality. To many, Hollywood is not merely an entertainment industry. It is the department of visual propaganda, working in a closed-loop system with NASA to ensure that the human eye never sees the level plane it is standing on. Before a single government rocket was built, the space narrative was already being perfected in the studios of Europe and America. This is known as conceptual priming. Georges Méliès' 1902 film A Trip to the Moon didn't just entertain, it established the visual grammar of space travel. It introduced the concept of a capsule, a spherical moon, and the black void, 67 years before Apollo 11. Fritz Lang, the legendary director of Woman in the Moon, Frau im Mond, hired Hermann Oberth, one of the founding fathers of rocketry and a mentor to Wernher von Braun, as a technical advisor. The science of space travel was born in a film studio. The countdown, 3, 2, 1, liftoff, was actually invented by Lang for dramatic effect in this movie, not by scientists for safety. It was Hollywood that taught NASA how to launch a rocket. The connection between the military-industrial complex and the film industry became explicit during the mid-20th century. Before he was the head of NASA's Marshall Space Flight Center, the former SS officer von Braun collaborated with Walt Disney on a series of television specials: Man in Space, Man on the Moon, and Mars and Beyond. Wernher von Braun said to Disney audiences, "I believe that the conquest of space is the greatest adventure in the history of mankind." By using Disney's magic, von Braun sold the American public on a multi-billion-dollar space race that had not yet occurred. They used high-quality animation to make the globe and space feel like a tangible reality to millions of families. Some point to Stanley Kubrick as the master editor of the deception. In 1968, Kubrick released 2001, A Space Odyssey. Kubrick perfected front projection, a method where a high-resolution image is projected onto a specialized screen behind the actors to create a seamless, real environment. When the Apollo 11 footage arrived a year later, many noticed the lighting and horizon lines matched Kubrick's studio techniques perfectly. The confession is often cited in The Shining 1980, where the child Danny wears an Apollo 11 sweater while playing on a carpet that mimics the hexagonal shape of the Apollo launch pad. Modern media relies on the fact that the public can no longer distinguish between a photograph and a digital painting. Robert Simon, NASA lead visualizer, known as Mr. Blue Marble, gave a revealing interview for NASA's Earth Observatory regarding the 2012 Blue Marble image. He stated, "It is photoshopped, but it has to be." Mo Simon explained that they take flat strips of data from a low Earth orbit satellite and wrap them around a digital sphere. If NASA had a real ball, they would take a real photo. Instead, they hire digital artists to create what the public expects to see, reinforcing the standardized image. Modern films like Gravity 2013 and Interstellar 2014 serve as the high mass of the globe religion. Filmmakers like Alfonso Cuarón and Christopher Nolan work with scientific consultants like Kip Thorne to ensure the CGI follows the laws of physics. When the audience watches these films in IMAX, their nervous systems are overwhelmed. The brain records these experiences as witnessed events. Later, when the news media shows a grainy live feed from the ISS, the viewer's brain automatically fills in the high-definition Hollywood detail.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Today I'd like to bring to your attention a potential fraud on an enormous scale happening in your county. There's now clear evidence of NASA using numerous methods to grossly mislead the public about astronauts being on the International Space Station. During interior ISS scenes from NASA's own live feed, the use of wires, harnesses, green screens, and virtual reality have been detected to achieve the appearance of a weightless environment. Examples of this include astronauts fading in and out of the screen, green screen glitches, grabbing objects that aren't really there, pulling on invisible wires, getting tangled in their harnesses, and even astronauts appearing out of thin air. This begs the obvious question. If they're really up there, why are they using Hollywood techniques to fake the footage? Now, unfortunately, I can't show you these clips in here today, but I will be sending them to you. Outside the International Space Station, during spacewalks, air bubbles have been recorded on numerous occasions. How is it possible for air bubbles to be present in the vacuum of space?
Media and science popularizers act as the enforcers of the narrative through social engineering. Personalities like Neil deGrasse Tyson and Bill Nye, the science guy, are viewed as actors rather than objective scientists.
All right, listen, B.O.B., once and for all. The Earth looks flat because, one, you're not far enough away at your size. Two, your size isn't large enough relative to Earth to notice any curvature at all. It's a fundamental fact of calculus and non-Euclidean geometry. Small sections of large curved surfaces will always look flat to little creatures that crawl upon it. But this whole thing, it's just a symptom of a larger problem. There's a growing anti-intellectual strain in this country that it may be the beginning of the end of our informed democracy. Of course, in a free society, you can and should think whatever you want. And if you want to think the world is flat, go right ahead.
Media outlets like the BBC and CNN strategically select the most eccentric or unstable individuals to represent the Flat Earth movement in interviews.
When you're watching videos at home, it's just you and the screen. And it's lonely. I came here because I needed to see what flat Earth people looked like. And I was not disappointed.
This ensures the standardized public associates questioning the globe with mental illness or low IQ, preventing them from looking at the evidence regarding non-detectable curvature.
Isaac Newton, my man, said, if I have seen farther than others, it's by standing on the shoulders of giants. I get an amen. Woo! So that's right, B.O.B. When you stand on the shoulders of those who came before, you might just see far enough to realize the Earth isn't flat. And by the way, this is called gravity.